We have all heard the ranting and the ravings of Donald Trump, our president, or your president, as it relates to the Korean leader, Kim Jong-un, in North Korea, when he has had his nuclear missile testings. And the so-called world concern about him possibly gearing up to use those missiles or nuclear weapons or arsenal against the United States or their allies. We've heard this many times over. But I want to say this. Donald Trump had better tread very softly. First of all, he's not a military man. He's never been in the military. He was never a politician before he was elected as president. So, just on the strength of those two things, what does he know about war on that scale other than what he's read, what he's possibly lived through as a younger man and maybe someone in his family being in the military, and what he's heard and saw in the media, and even more presently what he has been told by his military advisors. Other than that, he knows nothing about war. He doesn't really have a clue about the big picture as it relates to war. Now, the United States many years ago engaged in a war on Iraq, where they occupied that country called Iraq. Unlawfully, I might add. But that's the topic of another video. And Iraq did not really defend itself as it possibly could have. It just didn't do it under Saddam Hussein. Now, when you're talking about another world power with a very formidable military such as Korea, North Korea, more specifically, they are not Iraq. They have the capability just as much as the United States has the capability to engage in a war. Now, we think, and we have been bragging for many, many decades about having the most powerful military on the planet. But that's our propaganda. But these other countries, foreign countries that are large in number and that have a stronger, greater population than we do, we are assuming too much. I'm prior military. I know this to be a fact. I know this to be a fact that if the United States were to engage North Korea in any type of war, then North Korea is not going to sit down and take it like Iraq did. And I also know that the United States is going to suffer way more casualties, probably up into the hundreds of thousands, if they were to mess with North Korea. And who is to say that North Korea will not get assistance from some of its partners? I won't mention their names, but they have people, other countries I should say, that they do commerce with, that they do trade with across the globe. Who's to say that China won't get involved, for example? Who's to say? Now, can we deal with not only North Korea and China as well? To be perfectly honest, and I am an American, but to be perfectly honest, if China and North Korea got together against the United States, we would not have a leg to stand on, because our military is spread too thin already throughout the world, and that it's also in too many world war campaigns as I'm speaking. And it is a world war campaign. We are still in Afghanistan. We're all over the Middle East. We're in Africa. We're everywhere on the globe. We're in about 90 something countries. Our military, we're spread too thin. But to deal with someone on such a scale as large as North Korea, not to mention again if they got assistance, we would have some serious problems. So, again, how would the United States do against North Korea in a third war? Not so good. So, diplomacy, 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 and at the end of the day, stay out of other people's business and stop being the policeman of other people's matters, because they don't do that to us, so why are we doing it to them? Leave well enough alone. This is Brother Teacher. What do you think?